welcome to Heal with Us, where we aim to inspire, strengthen, and empower.
Now let's begin to heal.
Hey, y'all, I'm Toya, and I'll be investigating the business of everyday people like you and I.
Blessings, it's Dr. Nikkisha Bell-Griffin, and I'll be checking in on your heart.
Hi, I'm Pam. I'm from Nerd's Corner, and I'll be giving you interesting facts that you didn't know you needed because I'm just nerdy like that.
Now that you met us, let's get in your business.
In your business.
So, you guys, have you ever just felt really down and you just had a perfect stranger come and uplift you?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. Elaborate.
You can go first off.
Okay. Well, I could say recently, it was probably like a month ago. I was getting ready, and I was coming out the store, and this lady saw like stuff in my trunk, which was, anyway, that's another story. And she was like, "Do you help people, or like, what do you have going on here?" Now,
Oh, you had
sadly,
stuff.
sadly,
Stranger?
yeah, she was getting out her car, and I guess she noticed me and because I was putting something in the truck. Now typically I do, like I said, donate. So like there have been times where I had like tons of bags in my car to, drop off to the shelter or whatever. But this particular time it was just randomness. And I was like, well, not today, but yeah, I do. And she was like, oh, then she just started like pouring, like, you just seem like such a, I just see your light and you seem like such a beautiful person and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I'm just minding my business. And, but it just felt nice to be seen and, and to know that sometimes without you even saying anything, people might see your light or, and then especially when they're not feeling the light, somebody just reaffirming that regardless of how you feel, you're still a beautiful person.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
For me, it was maybe a month ago. No, it had to be longer than that. Maybe 2 months ago. And I was getting my car serviced, and um, where I get it serviced is a long way away from my home. So I didn't want to go. There was nowhere that I didn't want to sit at the car lot. And I didn't schedule my appointment in time enough to get a loaner. So a little shuttle thing, I said, you know what, just take me to Barnes and Nobles. So they dropped me off at Barnes and Nobles. I got all my work stuff because I'm just gonna sit there, take care of some work, and just it wasn't a pleasant day or morning. Anywho, I'm sitting there and I'm working, and on that particular day, I had a shirt on that says "Chill and Trust God," and it's in big orange letters. It's just really, really big. Like, I'm short, so it was like this tall. Uh, and a young lady walked over to me. She was like, "Oh, do you mind if I ask where you got your shirt from?" So I'm going all into the thingies, and she was like, "Well, she says, I can tell, you have faith. You don't just have the shirt on, you go to church near here, blah, blah, blah." So we get to talking. We find out we go to the same church. There's different campuses. And then we get on the subject of, where we were, blah, 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 la, la, la. So she started asking me about my hair. This was before it was cut. And I was just asking her questions, answering her questions. And she was like, you ever thought about just, being like, teaching or giving or speaking? Or I was like, no, no, no. I said, I'm introverted. I talk with my hands, so that would be annoying if I was standing up in front of people.
it's okay. You talk with your
just
hands.
doing all of this. And she was like, but no, you just, you're very, step by step instructions. It was just very clear. So I think you should, think about doing that. And, and I just, something told me to get up and come over here and talk to you. And she sat down, she ordered me a tea, and we just sat down and we just talked. And I'm like, so much for work. But okay, God, I guess you sent her over here. She was my angel in disguise.
Yes.
But it was just having a rough morning, and her to come over and just have just a flat out innocent, peaceful conversation just kind of lightened my day. So it made me smile. And we actually exchanged numbers.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think my experience, the most profound one, I think. I was going through like a real tough time, like just in life, just everything was just lifing. And I don't know, it was a regular person that I would see, like a mall walker that I would see regularly.
You
And
said a
she's
mall walker?
a mall walker. Hmm.
Okay.
She she stopped and was like, something is off about you today. Like you're not your normal smiley, bubbly self. And I
That's
was
so creepy.
like, I
Why are
mean,
you watching me like that?
well,
Oh my
I usually
gracious.
speak to them so
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You
So
leaving out context.
yeah,
I'm like,
my
Please
bad. Yeah.
include that for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. So I was just like, couldn't even get words out, just started bawling.
Oh.
And she was like, so there's this ring that I have. And she said, I was exactly where you are. Like, it was just so bad that didn't even have words for it. She was like, but it will get better. She's like, let me just start with that. It will get better. She was like, but I'm going to give you this ring because this ring helped me. But the only thing I ask you is once you're better and you see somebody, pay it forward, give them, do the same thing that I'm doing. And I was like, how's your ring going to fit my finger? Like, it's a ring, ma'am. Like, everybody's fingers fit. But the ring fit perfect. And I wore it for probably like maybe 4 years before I gave it to the next person. But I still see her from time to time, walking in the mall, and she saw that I didn't have the ring on anymore. And she was like, "So you must have." And I said, "Yeah, I found somebody else." And
so
yeah, so
that's
they
just
have
a
it.
plain.
It was just a white gold ring with a little diamond on it. Yeah, yeah, like something that would go with anything in your wardrobe almost. So, but yeah. That was my experience with the angel that came, by. But she was somebody that it would just be high, casual high, she would walk past. We never really talked, but on that day she just noticed like, yeah, something's off. So, but yeah, but I needed that day. Mm. And then my next question is, have you ever been in a position to encourage somebody that you saw that maybe was down or you just saw a light in them? Have you done that with somebody else?
Mm, I'm not really random to go up to people and say, hi. I don't strike
Yeah.
conversation. So, oh, mm, I, mm, I may have. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
It would be out of character for me. So I guess I'll say no. That's kind of bad to say.
I think you have. Maybe it's just people close in your circle. It might not be strangers, but
Oh, you think
you
so?
have done that with me before.
I have?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So there was a time that I did. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember.
Yeah. I mean, many times that I can think of.
Many?
Yeah. I can go back to like early birthdays, 20s birthdays, or you would just be like, so you're not doing anything? Yeah, you're doing something. I'm taking you out, or,
Wow.
yeah, you have. Or when babies was born, like just all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's an
I
encouragement. Mm-hmm. She has. I was there.
I guess I was out about the experience.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Doc?
I mean, I hope I do as often as possible. I just try to encourage, even if it's just like, oh, you look very pretty today.
Mm-hmm.
Something simple, but you never know, that one thing might help put
Yeah.
somebody in another headspace. So I try to encourage people as often as possible. Now, strangers, probably not as much as I would like to, but I have, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're just
Friends
like,
is weird.
yeah, and then it's like I don't want to say the wrong thing. Sometimes I just feel led, and I'll just say
Mm-hmm.
whatever is on my heart. But um, if I don't feel like I'm getting a word or a clue, a blue's clues from the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
then I am not going to say
Yeah.
a lot. I'll just smile and try to be friendly. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the most I feel like I can give
Yeah.
when I'm not sure what else to say or do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think you do it more than you think too with them little babies. You probably got kids
Oh,
that come up to you and say, I remember when you said, or because of you,
right.
I did. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
mean, I'm in a weird situation because I taught the littles,
Mhm.
so some of them remember me. Like I
Mhm.
ran into like one of my the first grader class. I ran into one of my students like a year ago or something like that, and he definitely remembered me.
Oh.
But then I ran into one of my pre-K students, and he was looking at me like, "Who the heck is you?" Of course, his mom was like, "I'm so grateful for you," but he was looking at me like, "I don't remember you, lady." So you know, that's the tricky part about working with smaller children. But it feels good to know that you touch someone's life, and you know, just. You may not be the best. You might not, you have days where it's like, oh, I messed that up. But most of the time, kids and people remember, the kinder, sweeter moments. You know, so
or the like if somebody's mean to them, they remember that too.
Oh yeah, they will. They will. But I'm saying like if you're typically not a bad person, but you have a bad day, they'll
know. Oh yeah, they'll pick up on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yes.
okay, that was just a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm pretty habitual. So I think I do it a lot. And my kids can probably tell you, like, do you know that lady that you're hugging? I'm like, no, just met her. She, she has a good story. But the person that I gave the ring to, I'll tell that story. I work retail, so I run into a lot of people, but she was shopping for her daughter. She didn't have a lot of money. She was running on hard times, and she just started crying. And I was like, there's something here. We're going to find something. And she was like, I literally have like $25. Like, y'all are not going to have anything. I can't, I'm not going to be able to get. I said, we got a whole clearance section over here. We're going to come over here. We're going to find you some stuff. And I think she found her daughter like a little silver heart necklace. But she, because it was a heart, that meant a lot to her. Because she was like, they both like hearts. And, it was a whole story behind it. And I told her, like, when I was having a hard time, this nice lady came up to me and she told me, don't worry, everything is going to be fine. So I'm going to pass that on to you. Today is hard, but everything is going to be fine. I said, I know it because I thought this is it. Like, I don't, I just thought it couldn't get any better. I just thought it was going to be worse, worse, worse. But, so she was just like, I'm going to take your word for it. I gave her the ring. It fit her too. And she was a tiny lady, but it still fit her finger too. They came back the next week, her and her daughter. And her daughter was just like, this is the best present. Like, she didn't know the story behind it, that her mom didn't have any money. She's like, this is the best present. Like, we love hearts. We always try to find hearts wherever we go. She found me a heart. And so she, her name's Lindsay. But she comes up, this probably happened like maybe 6, maybe like 10 years ago. But she comes up like every holiday now, her and her daughter, just to come up to say hi. And her daughter's grown now. And, she was like, I will never tell her, that story of like the why behind that. But for me, it was like a hard time for her. She didn't know any different. Mm-hmm. So. But she's really sweet. She's doing good now, doing great. But so that was just
passed the ring along. Did she pass the ring along?
I think she did. I need to ask her who she gave it to. I don't know who she gave it to, but I think so.
So what was the ring for you? Like, what is?
I think it symbolized hope for me because I was just like in a space where I was like, I'm stuck in this. Like, there's no way out. And that ring made me feel like, okay, maybe. It might happen. So, yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm going to be talking about.
Yes. So, but I'll give you another example since I said I'm habitual. I was at a club for my birthday one year. Went to Boston to visit family. And I'm out with one of the cousins. We went to the bathroom because, you go to the bathroom together because it's safe. And it was a girl in there, like, fixing her hair or something. And I was like, you look so pretty. I hear my cousin in the stall, like, stop telling people, stop talking to people that you don't know. I was like, but she does. And then the girl was just like, I literally was about to go home because I felt like I didn't look nice. And I'm like, looking at all these other girls that got this shape and that. And I feel like I don't look, like I need to. And you telling me you think I look pretty. So, but yeah, so I think anytime I see the opportunity, I'm habitual with it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I have today. Thank you for letting me get in y'all business.
In your business.
Well, hello, hello. It's Dr. Nikkisha Bell-Griffin. All right, so let's get started. I want to continue with the conversation. And actually, I kind of want to talk about something. It's almost like encouragement gone bad. I don't know how else to put it. But it's actually something that I have been recently introduced through therapy. Well, part of it, my therapist kind of gave me an assignment, and it just, with me and my teacher brain, it just went down so many different rabbit holes. I was like, "Ooh, this is so good." But it's called spiritual bypassing, and I feel like because we are all believers, Christians, and I mean, really not just Christians, but anyone who, has spiritual practices or believes in a higher power can be, I don't want to use the word guilty, but guilty of this without even realizing it. And basically, what it is, I'll give y'all the technical definition, then we'll talk about it. It's basically a way to avoid facing difficult emotions or experiences by using spiritual beliefs as a shield, or using spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep emotional healing and growth. And a lot of people do this, I think, and don't even realize they're doing it. Okay. That's the dangerous part to me. And I'll give an example. So, have y'all ever been in a situation where you just like felt horrible? Like you felt like I cannot make it another day. And then somebody says, "It's okay, girl, just pray." Or, "Girl, God got you." And then they quote a scripture. Or, I mean, and you might even do it to yourself. Like, okay, the Lord said, do not be anxious about anything. And you just go on and quote these scriptures. Well, in and of itself, it's fine, but it's not enough. And the way my therapist explained it to me is that, like, spiritual practices, like prayer, for instance, are protective mechanisms. They're not coping mechanisms. So it's almost like those things can help you get through that moment, but it's still not dealing with the issue. And for me, I feel like this is so important to my healing process because I'm getting to a place where I'm realizing it's not enough. I mean, I've been saved. I love Jesus. I love the Lord with all my heart. But I'm realizing quoting scripture, studying my Bible every day, praying every day, all these things that we think and we know is helpful and we should do, it's not enough by itself because it's almost like putting a blanket over the real issue. It's almost like, okay, this is enough. Okay, I said my prayers. Feel that sense of relief. I feel that peace, but it just lasts for a moment, or maybe it'll get you through a week, or whatever. But you're still not really dealing with whatever it is that has you, off balance, or dealing with, for me, like anxiety, or just whatever emotional um whatever emotions come up. And like I love the movie Inside Out. Like I'm like, that movie to me is like, y'all, really, this is for kids, y'all. Like seriously. I mean, because the whole point of that movie is like you have these emotions. And of course, Joy is just trying to like suppress all of them. Like, nope, she don't need you, sadness. Go over there somewhere, but they all have their place. And I think sometimes with being spiritual, we try to suppress. We use our like spiritual practices or whatever to suppress or push down stuff, or try to like kick them out. Like, you don't belong here, anxiety. I'm not supposed to be anxious. I am a child of God. Yeah, and ideally, it would be lovely if we can live every single day of our life without being anxious. But it's in the Bible because people were anxious, like he said it for a reason. But I say that to say I'm learning that we have to start, well, I'm going to speak for myself, have to start really examining my feelings and like, okay, why am I feeling this way? And the way my therapist put it is kind of like getting curious about what you're experiencing instead of just being like, oh God, I'm feeling anxious again. I shouldn't be feeling like this. Like really setting aside time to be like, okay, why am I feeling this way? And then seeing where your heart leads you on that, in that questioning. So I kind of am curious as to how you ladies have either seen someone use that, like wait, maybe it's with you, or you doing it to yourself, or you doing it to someone else. Because I can say that I've definitely done that to someone else before. Like, oh girl, it's all right. God got you, blah, blah, blah. Yes, he does, but there's a process to healing, and there are steps and things that we need to put in place to see that healing, fulfilled. And it's not just quoting scriptures, and it's not just prayer. That's part of it. So have y'all kind of been in that boat or in that boat, and?
Um, I I mean, I'm pretty sure us being humans we have.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm such a analytical science thinker.
Mm,
And I try not to be that Bible thumping,
right, right.
I feel as though when I'm given a word to say, I will, but majority of the time I'm coming with the science aspect, or if I hear somebody say, God, I keep having these headaches, and and they'll say, oh, I know I'm anxious or whatever. I will give them a herb name or a essential oil or something that
Okay.
is natural to
Yeah.
kind of help on that
Right.
end, and then include and then attach
Right.
the other.
Right. Right.
And I try to be mindful of that, because I remember our pastor gave a sermon years ago talking about being over churched.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
it
word.
kind of
I like
lined
that.
with what you were saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh, girl, why are you worried about how that bill going to get paid? Guys, he's on time.
Right. Right.
But it's
Right.
like, at this moment, I don't want to hear that. I got 16
Right.
hours to feed, and
Exactly.
my light's about to be turned on.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
have strong faith
Right.
of a
Yeah.
mustard seed.
Yes.
You got to throw it back at them.
Yes.
But right now, I need
Yeah.
a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try to be mindful,
Okay.
um, but I still like to attach it in
Yes.
some way.
Yes. Which is not
But
perfect. Yeah.
a lot of the times because if you take that approach, you may have someone to say, what, no offense, but I don't want to hear that right
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh
and you
yeah.
gotta kind of respect where they
Right.
are
Right. Yeah.
and not take it personally, because
Right.
then that throws something at you.
Right.
Like, I ain't gonna try
Right. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
speak
Yeah.
up again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I
Yeah.
approach
Yeah.
something. If someone is talking, or I see
Yeah.
or know that they're going through something,
Mhm.
my mind always go to that
Mhm.
biology, science,
Yeah.
analytical
Yeah.
approach,
Yeah.
and then I attach.
Right. And that's good. I'm glad you said that. And one thing too, I guess I should have preferenced. I'm a strong believer. I know the prophetic word. Like when somebody gives you a rhema prophetic word from God, which you've done before, God has led me to do it before. That's different. Like if God gives me a word of wisdom for you, or he gives you a word for me or whatever, that's different than over churching a situation and saying, "Oh, girl, like you said, he got you. He gonna pay that bill." And there are times when God has something specific to say to someone, and He will. But and so that's different. I just want to make sure I state that to everyone. That's I'm not talking about getting that rhema prophetic word from God specifically for you. I'm just talking about the generalization of the word that we're just trying to like use it to put a band-aid on everything.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think for me, I'm probably guilty of telling people like, well, I'm praying for you versus going and praying with them.
That's good.
So,
That's good. Yeah.
so I think that's my main thing. Like I do pray for people a lot, but not with people a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's good because
Yeah.
I was looking at, of course, the solution because I don't want to just focus on the problem. And like I said, this has really been something eye-opening for me because I'm realizing I'm in a place in my life, and I've spoke to you two about it, where I feel overchurched. I feel like, okay, I don't want to hear another sermon. I don't want to read another. I have the word in me. I've heard, because it's like there's something in me that needs more. Like, and it's not saying God is not enough, church is not enough, but it's not. God has many ways of getting to your heart and getting to the parts of you, and sometimes it's more than just what you're getting in that type of environment. So now I'm on a journey to figure out what that looks like because I love fellowshipping with my sisters and brothers in Christ, but I'm like, this is not enough in and of itself for me to heal.
So why don't you start a life group?
You said this to me before.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna really think about that. I really am, because I do love teaching, and I do love, sharing the word and seeing other people grow and heal. So yeah, okay, I will seriously consider that. But Toya, I like how you said, and both of y'all kind of, I like how you said you kind of mesh your scientifical brain with the word, and because basically the best thing we can do for ourselves and others is to listen. Like that's number one, listen. Don't try to give a answer, unless they are really seeking to, your input. But to listen, and then ask questions like, "How can I help?" or "What do you need?" or or maybe just saying, "I understand where you're coming from. It must really hurt to have this happen," or it must be really scary to not be able to pay your bills, or saying things like that, because then you're getting to the heart of the matter. This person is really expressing to you not just I want a solution, but I want someone to align with me in my hurt and my fears. I need somebody. I need to know I'm not by myself in this. And I think when it comes to personal, and this is what I'm learning on this journey, is that when I stop trying to suppress my emotions or try to get rid of them, like, oh God, I'm not supposed to feel this way. But I actually take that time to say, what is wrong? Like, what's going on? It's almost like I'm aligning, my spirit self is aligning with that hurt part and saying, okay, I understand. I understand why you're anxious because such and such and such happened, or, you got so much on your plate, girl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if nobody else is there to help me, I'm able to kind of have that conversation with myself. So I think that is a big change in how I've dealt with my stress and anxiety and trauma and all of that in the past. Because in the past, it was like, okay, let me pray real hard, or Jesus, and like I said, that all has its place, but in and of itself, by itself, is not enough. So basically, listening to yourself, asking questions, or yourself or another individual, inviting. Now, this sounds very counterintuitive, but inviting the suffering. But I will add this to that, inviting Jesus into that suffering with you. And I'm thinking of a scripture that not only just seems like a blanket statement to me, but I can really understand what it means when he says, "Come to me, all who are burdened or and heavy laden, and I will give you rest, because my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Like, I get that now. Like, wow. So you're saying that burdens are our emotional burdens are heavy. They're heavy on our spirit and soul. And so Jesus is saying, "Come to me. I can pick those up for you." And so, like, in my mind, I'm imagining him just taking them away. You know what I mean? But before he's taking them away, he's making sure I know why they were there in the first place. Because otherwise, if I don't, they're coming right back. I'm taking them back. I'm like, Jesus, get that back to me, because I'm not understanding why I was carrying that in the first place. Yeah. So that scripture now becomes Rhema to me, because it's not just, oh, this sounds good and it's comforting, but I really understand what he means and what it means for me now. Then, of course, practicing self awareness, which is acknowledging and accepting your full range of emotions. So you don't get to say, okay, I'm okay with being angry all the time. You know how some people label it as being angry. I'm okay with that because, that make me look like whatever. But you don't like being emotional crybaby. No, you got to accept full range of all your emotions, even the ones you deem as negative. And as Tamara has done such an amazing job, throughout our discussions about healing, you've talked about just listening to your body and how we can take care of the body in our healing process. So listening to your body signals, and it's amazing because when you're feeling stress, you can notice, or feeling a certain emotion, you might feel it in your body in different places. Like for me, if I'm starting to get anxious, I feel it all up in my head, like over by my ears. It's weird. If I'm feeling like, like bad, like just being hard on myself, I feel it in my face. It's interesting. It is. So just I'm being more aware of that, and, listening, and then just kind of trying to get myself into a safe space. And I think, of course, seeking support, like I would not have got to this place without my therapist, and I told, I actually seen two different individuals. They work together, so it's like a team, but I've told them both that I think it's sad that a lot of things they're teaching in the therapy session should be common knowledge, and it's not. Like a lot of things there that I'm learning could have saved me years of emotional pain but I didn't have the tools. I did not know how to deal with, and cope with my, anxiety and all these other things I was feeling because of past traumas. And they're just spewing it out like it's ABCs. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. But I'm happy to say they are starting to make things more readily available to anyone. So any person can just, go online or get a book and kind of learn, for themselves certain strategies. And I'm actually learning one now called the IFS, which is internal family systems, where you're seeing your emotions kind of like an inside out. They're all part of a family. Just like you wouldn't kick your child out for having a temper tantrum, you don't kick your emotions out. You figure out what's wrong. So that's been helpful because it's just allowing me to kind of detach, but without really detaching, if that makes any sense. So I'm still learning, but I feel like I'm getting there slowly but surely. Yeah. So I think that's all I have. But, y'all want any books or anything I have, or you guys want any books, I have some wonderful suggestions. So just email us and I'll let you know. And remember to guard your hearts with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. Peace.
Hello. Welcome to the Nerd's Corner. So let's get all snuggy, cuddly, and cozy. And I want to kind of still follow the line of what we were talking about, encouragement and hope. Um, and I want to talk to you as well as the audience about coloring. Um, have the two of you colored in your adult time? Let's put it that
Yes.
way. You have?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I have to have the right utensil because it's something about, I just don't like it. But again, I love writing, but if I don't have the right pen, I'm like, just.
I
So
understand
I
that
think
about
if
the
I
right
find the
pen.
right utensils, I might enjoy that more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll talk about some color
Okay.
mediums.
Okay. Great.
That you may find one that'll give you that inspiration to want to color. But let's kind of look at the coloring as a way to, like, therapy. If say you just don't maybe have the time or the resources to seek a professional, um, you can use this as a therapy. And when you're coloring, every color that you choose or every stroke on the paper, think of it as a release. Try when you first start doing it, try to do it and not do it where it's art. Like, just put the colors on that. Don't try to coordinate colors. Don't try, if you're painting a bird, if the bird is neon green, let that bird be neon green, because we're starting this as release and relaxing, and then we can probably maybe work on lifting your mood, and then that's when you go into certain colors and things like that. So first, start out trying to do it where you just grab whatever color comes to mind and just get the coloring, even if it's out of the lines. you know um just put it all on the paper. Some people, you say you like to write. I don't like to write. I don't like my handwriting, and I always wish I had beautiful handwriting, but I don't. So I want you to take the approach of coloring as, first don't focus on colors and staying in the lines and what you're coloring. Just put the colors on the paper and then sit back and think about how those colors made you feel, or how you felt as you were using each color. Um, and then you will find that it helps you to relax. For me, I used it to relax. I love to escape. I love a good escape. I love, from getting lost in a book to getting lost into my coloring books. Anything that helps me lose touch of reality is a wonderful thing. So I brought a couple examples, and Doc, I know you said that you haven't found the right tools to color.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you some examples. And it doesn't have to be the fanciest, most expensive color medium that's out there. You just get one, like you said, that makes you feel comfortable, even if it's a box of regular old Crayolas. Just roll with it. So you can get any of these coloring books. Like they used to be a thing. It was like a big thing maybe 6 years ago, probably 6 to 7 years ago. And you saw coloring books everywhere, from expensive ones to intricate ones, and then they had the mandalas and all these different type of coloring books. I don't think it's as popular as it used to be anymore, but I still color. So yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the books that I have. And there's no really rhyme or reason to the books that I have. A lot of the books that I got them from either Michael's or I think Barnes and Nobles or books. I had some of these books ever since what was it, like Book of Millions? Yeah. So I've had some of these books for a while, and some of them are very thick. And when coloring was a thing, a lot of the books had like a theme. So this one was happiness and harmony. And so if you flip through it, it has a couple of mandalas in here, medullas. I don't know how you pronounce that word. But medullas. Don't start. So it has a lot of different different patterns. I know with the patterns, you gotta kind of be careful because I know some people have those phobias. If it has a certain repeat to it, then it kind of triggers them in their senses. And some of the medians that I have, medians meaning tools. I have my little bag here full of all my supplies.
Yeah, such a nerd.
I do. I mean, hey, it's the nerds corner.
It's a nerd bag, y'all.
I gotta be a nerd. Why can't it be a supply bag?
It's clearly a nerd bag.
It didn't even have nerdy pockets.
Yes, it does.
Anywho,
April has the same exact one.
I have in here. I have color markers, which are fine tip. And I like the fine tip because I'm left-handed. So they're very, very fine. I don't know if you guys can see how fine they are. This helps with precision, but for me, it's good because I'm left-handed. So anytime I write, I'm smearing my ink as I write. So I have to write with a certain type of pen, gel pens. I love pens. If anybody wants to give me pens, gel pens, 0.5 perfectly. Anyway, so these are very fine tip ones that can help you get in and the lines and kind of shadings and all the different things for these. Then I have the little twisty crayons.
Oh, I remember
Crayolas.
those. Scribblers, I think.
Twistables.
It says
Twistables. Oh.
I like to use these, and I'm so technical with it. Like I use certain tools for certain types of papers. Some of the books have waxy papers. Some of the books have the really matte pages, like the dips in the pages where it feels kind of shreddy. And a lot of people don't know that on a sheet of paper, it actually, if you would magnetize that like to the highest setting that you can see with the visible eye, it's holes in the paper. There are holes in the paper. And what makes the ink or the pencil show on the paper is the size or the amount of holes that's in that paper. So it's not really the pen because you're controlling the pen. It's the holes in the paper that
like catch and grab it.
Yes. Yes. So whereas with a left-handed person, they push as they write, but a right-handed person, they pull.
Let me see if I pull them.
I also have, do you guys remember from back in the day, the Jelly Roll pens?
Oh my goodness.
And I have the glitter one. I can't be just simple. I have the glitter ones.
Of course
I
you
love
do.
anything pretty shiny, sparkly. So I have the glitter one, but the jelly roll pens.
Mhm.
Oh, I used to love these.
How
Did you
that's
have?
how do you
right.
even
Some
find
that's
that?
right.
You're gonna love it.
Oh,
It's very
I
smooth.
like that one.
But
I
where
like
did I
that to write
find
with.
those?
Okay.
I think I was out of state, and it was a paper
I
and
like
pen, like
those.
they don't call it paper and pen. What do you call the thing? Like a
Paper mate.
stationery store.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And they had
I
all
said
Some
types.
call it paper and pen.
Like what? I'm sorry. Something.
You know,
Stationary,
no,
not paper and pen. It's
Right.
stationary.
stationary. And I was in heaven. Like they
Mhm.
had just one whole wall
Oh
full of
man.
all type of pens and
Where was
markers.
this?
And I was in, where was I at? I think I went to like a work conference, and was I in Ocean City? I think I was in Ocean City, and
Mhm.
it was just a random.
That
I
sounds
think it was like
fun.
a mom and pop shop.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I walked in, and I was like, the lights,
Mhm.
like it was just amazing.
Right.
But yeah, I have the Jelly Roll pens in here. I have, this is actually a what they call a color pencil blender. So it's like a little white tip, and it's got two different styles of tips on it. And what you do is you use this to blend out your colors. So say you got two different colors of blue, and you want to blend them into each other seamlessly. You would use this to help you do that.
Okay.
If you were to try to do it a different way, it would take a lot more than those two colors and pencils and all this other things, but they simplified it for you. And you just use this one little thing. So that's neat.
Okay.
I have that, and I have some brush markers. I like these because they
I've
actually
seen
give you
those.
the effect of um, coloring like you're actually with the paintbrush, but it's a marker. So I really like these, and they're good for blending if you're using a acrylic marker. And I don't think I have any of those in my bag because one of those leak and it's catastrophic. So I try not to carry those around. I keep those in. But yes, sometimes this bag lives in my car. Yes, it does, because if I'm somewhere and I'm bored to death, I'm gonna either pull out Kendrina, which is my Kindle, or I'll have this on standby. Just saying.
Okay.
So those are some of I forgot one thing. Color pencils. This is a very expensive brand, so you don't have to start out with this one. This is like a professional type of color pencil, but they are so creamy and they blend effortlessly, and the color pigment is so, you'll see, because I'm going to show you a couple of my color pieces that I've done with these color pencils. But once you get into it, if you feel like, hey, I'm ready for the next step, let me kind of invest more into my tools, then you can take that step. But you don't have to start. And like here, I think I got these from the dollar store. Like anytime I see something color medium, I just pick it up because I'm like, why not? I'm a nerd. I can add it to my collection. And then the piece de resistance. I have different types of sharpeners for my pencil because, like with those expensive ones, you can't just use a regular pencil sharpener. And I have some that is electric.
I love
Like,
those.
Oh my
like I'm
goodness.
just such a nerd. Anyway, this is a type, and then this one is a type. And I like this one because you get to choose the point of your sharpness on your pencil. I got this years ago from Amazon. It was like $5. I don't even know if it was that much, but yeah. So that's how into this I am.
That electric one is dangerous though. You can
Oh Lord.
use a little too much, and then you don't have no pencil left because you get used to the sound and the feel of the
Yeah, that is so true. So I want to share with you some of my I'll share some of my books first before I go into some of my things. So I have this one. It's a kaleidoscope, and it has a bunch of those.
Oh,
I forgot.
mandala.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Mandala.
Yeah, the medulla oblongata. But just like an example of some that I've colored. Like
Really?
I see the metallic colors
you
in
see
there.
that's
Yeah.
from the journal.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. So
Isn't that a singer?
I actually I actually, believe it or not, I started out with this one. This one is pretty. It's got the purple metallic marker in there.
Yeah, I would color that.
Yeah,
I
so
want a kaleidoscope now.
I know. I know, right? And the
here's
toy.
another one with the metallic
Oh,
that I
that is really
Yes.
cute.
yeah. So I started out with this one. This one, being that it's so intricate, I really got lost in it, and it just really, this is what set it off. Like I felt so light and just cleared after I finished. And I've always been a person. I love colors. I love colors. I love mixing and matching.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have another tool that I forgot to talk about. So my color wheel, you got your primary colors. And I know the teacher knows. Do you know what the primary colors are?
Red, blue, and yellow.
And one more.
And one more.
There's one more. Green?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Forgot about green.
that's kind of the basis. And I even use this for dressing, because any color that is opposite another color on the color wheel, they're complementary to each other and they look good. So you guys remember maybe a couple of years ago when color blocking was a thing with your clothes? I would literally go in the store with this.
How she turned a color wheel into a nerd tool.
I mean, hey,
Just
you gotta
how.
be resourceful.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how.
Okay. It's called recycling. Okay. But I use this a lot when I am looking at a picture and I'm like, okay, I get out my color scheme before I even start coloring.
Oh.
And then I always have a little scrap piece of something. This is a ripped up piece of folder, but I have this out and I get my color schemes out and I test it out on here. Okay, I need to add another color. Or
this is the most organized
I know,
coloring
right?
I've
I'm
ever heard
like,
in my life.
people. So, I mean,
I feel like blue right now. I feel like
first of
yellow. Okay,
all,
let's try some purple.
I know. If I'm not really a coloring person, you making me feel pressured.
well, no, don't feel pressure. That's what I said. Start out with something small, like just a regular pack of. You can start out with this 10 count of coloring pencils.
No, I don't like those. I don't want to color with those.
I would color with those.
No, I meant with all your. I'm talking about with all that color matching stuff. Now I'm all about the shopping for the material.
I was just showing you this as a tool that I use.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
No
Okay.
pressure.
No,
Okay.
once you get into it and you really get a thing into it, then
Okay. Yes.
like
all your fellow nerds really do appreciate this.
Okay.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know you guys do.
Yes.
I know, but one day they're gonna appreciate me. One day.
Yes, I mean I appreciate it because
I have another medium I forgot about. This is also, you remember that pen I showed you, the blending? This is a blending pencil.
Okay.
And so you would use this to blend out your color pencils. Now the tip is white. You would think, oh, but it's white. It doesn't color white.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But the mechanism of it is what helps to pull. Well, actually, what it does is, remember those holes that I talked about how this works is this helps to push the holes down even more in the paper, which then helps to bring those colors together. So it doesn't color white. I know the tip is white, but a blending pencil.
Okay.
So now I'm going to share a couple of my books. Here, Doc, you said you wanted this, so you can have it. And you need to share with us, as well as the audience, some of your results of you
I can
coloring.
use yours for examples.
And we want to see some of your work.
Examples. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
So one of the books that I have, this was actually given to me, and I had another one. One of my employees, bless his heart, he has transitioned. But he gave me this intricate, this huge, it was like over 200 and something colored pencils.
Wow.
It's about this big. And you talking about something intimidating. You think this is, I was like, oh my God. Because I would color at work during my lunch break. I would color at work. I would crack my door to my like, hey, if y'all need anything, my door is kind of slightly ajar, but if you need anything, come on in. I'm just coloring. And he came in and he saw something. He was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. Like, and for Christmas, he bought that, a coloring book and those coloring pencils. But he also gave me this one, which is filled with Bible verses and different quotes and sayings and things. So here's an example of something that I colored on this one.
You're so talented.
Am I talented?
You are.
I think I excel at coloring because I always wanted to know how to draw, but I wanted it to be natural. I didn't want it to be something where I got to be taught how to draw. I wanted it to be, so these are just some of the examples of the things that I colored. But I think this one that I really want to show, it took me about a week to color this.
Ooh.
Now this, the black, the page is white, but I colored that black.
Okay. That was
So
a great idea.
It took me about a week.
I see the blending. I see
you
it.
You see the blending?
I see
it. Yeah, this was a labor of love.
And, pretty. I love it.
Yes. See them shades and
it was so, I guess the lady was so taken aback by it. I went to go visit a friend and I got up real early in the morning because after I finished talking to God and doing all the things, sometimes I would pull out my coloring book, and I was at her house and I was coloring early in the morning. I got up before everybody and I left the book on the table. I just left it open like this. And later that evening, she had some friends come over and the lady was like, oh, is that a swatch for wallpaper? I was like, no, that's Tamara's coloring book. I was like, oh yeah, let me move that. She's like, no. I want to take a picture because I want to get this as wallpaper.
Oh my goodness.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But this is
I can see it.
Oh my God, are you an artist? Girlfriend, no, this is just crayon. No, she was like, oh my God, it looks professionally done. Like I said, oh no, I appreciate the kind words, but no, it was just something that I was just working on. But as you can see, this is a very thick book. I think I got this from Michael. And then this is more of one of the expensive books that I was talking about, that once again, if you're just starting out, you don't have to get this intricate of a coloring book. This coloring book on the back says it was $15. You don't have to get that, but it's just to know that there's options out there that if you get into it and you're like, oh my God, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah. But as you can see, it's the colors and the lines are more small, so it's very detailed type of coloring. Let me see if there's anything in here. Like I did these flowers. Ooh. Yeah, so I started on the bird, but I didn't finish the bird because the bird is the word. Yeah. My rooster. I did the rooster. And yeah, so I hope that by me sharing some of my nerdiness in my coloring books, that it could be an avenue for either the two of you and you guys to help you relax and just kind of unwind and just color your worries away.
Yeah, I like it.
So Doc, please share with us.
I will. And my daughter actually already, because she's very into art, my youngest daughter, so she has lots of mediums already.
Okay.
So I'll see what she suggests.
It's so funny. With coloring books, I have to start with the first page and
oh my God,
go do every page.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Yes.
See, I even have. I think I got this from. Like I just pick up things when I see them.
It's a cute one.
Something I could just pop in my purse and just, if I'm bored, just start coloring. But it doesn't matter. I could just flip. I think I'll flip through and look for an interesting picture. But I don't necessarily have to start from the first page and all the way.
Yeah.
No, because sometimes it's stuff in the book that's like, well, I don't know where they put this in. Like it's a snake in there. I'm like, who wants to color a snake? I don't even want to see a snake. But
or a frog.
Yes. If
You can make it a friendly snake.
there's no such thing.
Oh, bad. I'm
Anywho,
touchy.
if any of you guys try any colorings and you do one and then you realize that it helps you relax, share it with us. Email us a copy of the coloring art that you did, and then we can kind of share it with the other people. But that's all I have for my segment.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Heal With Us.
And remember, healing is a process, so take it one day at a time.
We are available across all social media platforms. Reach out to us, leave us comments. We will respond. We see them. We appreciate all that has been reaching out to us as well. You can email us if you would like to contact us. Any comments, show topics, questions about us, anything. You can email us at healwithus3@gmail.com.
Heal
Heal
with
with us.
us.
Heal